answer was this written exactly for Joel? And he said no. I said, was this legislation written just so Joel Ferguson could have this land? He said no. It was Joel wasn't on the scene when we were thinking about it. I don't really believe that, but Dennis answered me in a relatively honest way.
Was Dennis on the scene at the time? Joel's been on the scene a lot longer than Dennis.
Well, Dennis, they know that's not true. They go back together 30 years.
Well, I think nobody wanted it is a little bit facetious, because all over the country, when the public sector invests in parking garages and transit stops and regional transit, the private sector comes in and invests for that. So without any enticement there, of course no one wants it. If you travel around to different cities, I was just in Los Angeles. They have their metro stations that they've planned. They've been planning this for 10 years. Their metro stations are down there. Right next to every metro station are huge building projects going on. Without the metro station, who knows? So the enticement has to be there. And that comes from our public officials, from public planning, from visioning, from master plans.
So how do you propose that the state gets this out of Joel's hands and back out for consideration somewhere else?
Well, I'll jump in. It's not necessarily that it's in somebody's hands or out of someone's hands. It's a larger city building and social building issue. If you're going to build downtown Birmingham, how do you do it? There's leadership from the state. Let's take Midtown. Is a developer specifically building Midtown? Sort of, because she's sort of a developer. However, she's representing the public good, as in infrastructure in roads and master planning the whole area, and not just building a bunch of stuff that doesn't belong. They have a master plan for that. And it's based on public infrastructure and public design and city building. It's not just a shopping center. And
we would propose that if the public investment was made for something truly new economy, 21st century, that Joel's development within that, he would make more money off of it.
Yeah,
I think there's always a part for him. It's not necessarily, should we just get rid of him? But the original, the way it's been set up doesn't allow all the assets and opportunities at that site to be realized for the civic good and for the public sector.
All right, we did a cost analysis purely based on square footage. There's real estate people, developers. It's always square footage. How many square feet? How many square feet? How much per square foot? So we did a quick takeoff, because this is what we do professionally for our clients. When they propose something, we did a takeoff of his square footage versus the potential Meta Expo type of development square footage, and the return on that. The Meta Expo with True Transit has 5 times the return. 5 times the return. So if we want 5 times the return and 5 times the job, 5 times the construction jobs, 5 times everything, why wouldn't, for the public good or for this region, why wouldn't we go for the $5,000 instead of $1,000? I mean, why wouldn't our government officials say, hey, that's a better land use decision. That's a better idea. Let's investigate that.
Okay. Anything to add to that?
No, but Karen, do you have?
Well, I was coming at it from another perspective, and that is that when the Department of Technology Management and Budget, which had the land for the state fair, they had 5 options under Public Act 74, only one of which was to send it to the land bank. They could have offered the property to local units of government, 1 or more. They could have used real estate brokers to help plan with the state the best value. They could have put it up for auction. There were other options that they didn't pursue. And from reading Virgil Smith's account, they decided to put it in the land bank because it was most expedient, and the governor, along with Michigan Economic Development Corporation, felt that the land bank could expeditiously prepare the land for sale or development. That was their thinking.
Is there a conspiracy here?
I really couldn't say there's a conspiracy. All I can say is we have run up against a number of walls in trying to get public officials to comment, to be receptive, to engage in this. We do have some mayors and some other public officials who are interested, especially in the transit aspect, and they've stated as such. That includes Southfield, Ann Arbor, Ferndale, Royal Oak,
Members of the WA3.
Woodward Avenue Action Association. Oh, well, there's this quote from Representative McMillan, who is worked on the budget, chair of the budget, I'm trying to remember what it is, House Fiscal Oversight Committee. And he said, Mr. Speaker and members of the House, if the desire is to sell the land, then put it up for sale, which was one of the options. I oppose sending the land to the MEDC via the land bank in order to likely cut deals with select well-connected people. Picking winners and picking losers is wrong.
So the bigger picture, the bigger idea is, yes, the land bank is a good idea to take care of stressed properties. Somebody's gas station, somebody's apartment building. That's fine. We're talking about something the size of a small city. It's 157 acres. Doesn't seem that big when you drive by it, but walk across it. It's a vast piece of land. It's huge. The scale is enormous. So it can accommodate billions of dollars in revenue and jobs and construction and a regional transit center.
I think a related point to that is, and we have some quotes in our materials from John Locke from Wayne State University, is that there are no large developable sites in Detroit now. There's a lot of land, but they're individual sites. One of the biggest barriers to this type of development that has this kind of return is assembling land and buying land. So we have an opportunity at an incredible location with 157 or 163, whatever it is, acres available, shovel ready to go for a transit center for this kind of public investment in development.
How about speak to that then, how Joel changed his tune. We were presented, this is the way it's got to be. We got to have this pavement and these big box stores, and then the guy held up the paper at one point and said, well, actually, no, it's a blank slate. Well, what does it speak to that, how they didn't really know what they're doing?
Well, through the process of a year and a half since, well, there was a public meeting held in November 2012 where Joe Redico and Magic Plus LLC plan was presented. We had gone around to various agencies and groups and community groups and so on and built this State Fairgrounds Development Coalition presenting our vision, and people at that public meeting, as a result, 98% were in favor of more utilization and better potential utilization of the land than what the Redico Magic LLC plan had. And as a result, they see the popularity, and so they have started to take on all the words that we have used in describing the Meta Expo concept, like walkable communities, like transit-oriented development, like green spaces and complete streets.
So in a sense, Karen, they are buying into some of your guys' ideas.
Definitely.
So you can be happy and maybe just give up.
Well, we're happy that the public has had an influence on this, and we hope it has even more of an influence coming up in the 26th. But we don't know if, when they say those words, if they really understand what they're saying, and if the concepts that they're talking about are really the ones we're talking about. And that remains to be seen.
Like the term TOD for transit-oriented development has a very definite meaning of dense development around real transit and real multimodal like this shows with the transit coming together, and it's built out in phases in a walkable community with mixed use. To say transit-oriented development, many people assume, oh, well, if we put a train stop there, we have transit-oriented development. That's not successful transit-oriented development, and it's not what TOD means. The same thing with throwing around the words mixed use. We've seen when it's reported in the media the little bit, Redico and Magic Plus come back, oh, well, we're going to have mixed use. But the things they show are a mixture of uses where you have, it's still car-centric, it's still car-oriented. If you have some retail and you have some condos and you have a medical clinic, you have a mixture of uses. True mixed use is stacked on walkable streets, so there's retail, commercial on the first floor, residential or commercial and office on the second floor, and then above that residential. So the distinctions and the definitions of those terms really need to be talked about and defined so that we're not talking about mixed use, but getting a mixture of uses.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Let's take
Okay.
20 seconds. We all got to be quiet so my machine can just record the background sound. But I need to use that for